on opening the front of the body, both at the heart and at the hips. A couple of props will be really helpful today. The first one is either a bolster, a blanket, or a pillow, something like that. And then a yoga block or a couple of books will be really handy but not necessary, as well as a yoga strap or a hand towel, something like that. The only one that you really need today is the blanket or the pillow. So if you need to take a moment to go find one of those, go ahead. If you're using a blanket, we'll fold or roll it up to be about the shape of a pillow, and we'll place it at the top of the space behind your back. We're going to lie back onto the prop, and we really want it to be behind the upper ribs. It can be under the low back as well, but we definitely want it to be tilting the heart forward. It can be really nice if the prop is big enough for your head to rest on as well. Knees can be any way. They can point up, legs long, or butterfly legs. And arms rest wherever they're comfortable. We'll spend the first few moments of this practice here, just allowing the spine to open up a bit on the front side. One thing that can really help is to consciously soften muscles. So start at your eyes. Let the space around and behind your eyes relax. Let your cheeks soften. And let your jaw release away from your upper teeth. Sides of the neck relax. Shoulders heavy. Chest soft. Let this release continue down your spine to hips, from top to bottom of legs, ankles, feet, until you're doing no extra work here at all, just being supported by your prop and the ground. And let's start to slow down the breath a little bit. You might let the inhales and exhales be a little bit deeper. And we're not too worried about any specific breath practice today. We're just breathing a bit more intentionally to allow the torso to relax. And maybe to encourage a little bit more movement around the ribs and spine. So the breath can help deepen the stretch. And we can go one step further by hugging in the low belly. Squeeze the navel towards spine. So firm the low abdomen. And send your breath into the upper part of your chest. Using the natural movement of breath to our advantage. Keep your shoulders and jaw relaxed. Take a few more rounds of breath here. You might accentuate the opening by taking your arms past your ears and breathing into side body. Take one more breath in. And exhale, hands down by your sides. You can use them to help guide your knees together. And then take right arm over to the left side. Carefully roll off of your props. And press yourself up just long enough to set the prop aside. Roll back down to the mat. For a full body stretch, legs out long, arms past your ears. Let's take some side body stretching. Take left fingertips around right wrist and draw your upper body over to the left side. Both shoulder blades stay down flat. Take a straight left leg out to the left side and a straight right leg follows. If you want a deeper sensation, right ankle crosses over left ankle and press through your heel. Neck stays relaxed as you breathe down the right side of your body. One more breath in. Unhook ankles and slowly come on back to center. And we'll switch sides. Right fingers around left wrist. Draw the upper body over to the right side. Straight right leg steps to the right and a straight left leg follows. You can hook the ankle over top of the right ankle to deepen. Breathe into left side body. Inhale, unhook, and come on back to center. Take your arms to your sides, bend your knees up towards the ceiling, and let's move through a couple rounds of a rolling bridge pose. So hug your navel down towards the ground. That's going to cause a little posterior tilt in the hips. So tailbone points up. Press down through your feet, and from bottom to top, roll your spine up. Low back, mid back, upper back. Pause here for just a moment. Engage the low belly again. Draw shoulder blades towards hips and engage thighs in towards each other. Press the hip creases up towards the ceiling. Take one more breath in. And from top to bottom, slow roll down. Tailbone is the last piece to come down to the ground. And let's do a few of those with the breath. Inhale, hug navel in and roll up. Exhale, slow roll down. Inhale, slow roll up. Exhale, controlled roll down. One more. Inhale to rise. And exhale to lower. Bring both knees into your chest. Give them a little squeeze. Maybe a rock side to side to massage the low back on the ground. And then roll over onto either side and come on up to a tabletop pose. Hands and knees. We'll take shoulders over wrists and hips over knees. Soften your belly, glance forward, cow pose. Take a breath in. And cat pose, hug navel in, arch your spine, breath out. Inhale, heart opens. And exhale, round your spine. Just one more. Find cow pose, draw your shoulder blades down and back, look forward. And cat pose, open shoulder blades wide. And land in a long neutral spine. Step your legs back behind you and we'll come all the way down onto the belly. Take your right arm out to the right side with palm down and place your right cheek on the mat. Use the left palm to press the left hip up and off of the mat so that it stacks over the right. There are a few options. You can keep left leg stacked on right, or you can take the left foot to the mat. The placement of the left leg doesn't matter so much. Gently press your right fingers down into the mat and breathe into the front of your right chest. If you have a lot of mobility in your shoulders, left hand can sweep behind you. You can interlace the fingers and press the triceps back. If you took the bind carefully, release one more breath in. And go ahead and roll back onto your belly. You can take that same variation again, or you can take the arm up diagonally about 45 degrees. If either of these stretches don't feel quite right, try bending the elbow into a goalpost arm. Right cheek to the mat. Press up and over second time. Breathe into the front of the right chest. Inhale. And exhale, come on back over. We'll switch sides, left arm out to the left side. Right palm to the mat, roll the right hip up and over. Breathe into the front left chest. Again, you can take the bind, sweep right hand back, interlace, or you can use a strap in between your hands, but no need to force this variation. Release the bind if you have it, no slingshot. Right hand back down and roll back to both hips. Second time, you can take the same goalpost arm or take the left arm out at about 45 degrees and we'll roll up once more. Right hip stacks over left, being sure that you're not causing any pain in your joints here. Breathe into left front chest. One more inhale. And come on back. Bring both forearms on either side of your face and lift your chest up with forearms flat. Shoelaces are still down on the mat. This is a Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx pose, we think about drawing the elbows back towards hips, drag the heart through the shoulders, keep shoulders out of ears, and then squeeze navel towards spine, squeeze glutes, and hug thighs together. Send your breath into upper chest. One more inhale. And then release down. Take your hands back by your ribs. Casually press up through your tabletop pose. And for just a moment, we'll find downward facing dog pose. We're just using it to pass through into some other stretches. If you enjoy down dog, you can take a moment to pedal out your hips and knees. But then land with hips high and hands pressing down. Lift your right leg behind you. Point your toes. Bend your knee and stack your right hip on top of your left for scorpion down dog. You're welcome to draw some circles in your hips. If you're familiar with the yoga practice and you practice flip dog, you're welcome to take it here. Inhale to lengthen your leg behind you. And then exhale, step your right foot forward and bring your back knee down to the mat. Coming into a lunge, bring both hands up onto your right knee. And then go ahead and sweep them high up into the air. Draw your right hip back and press your left hip forward. Lift your frontal hip points up. And maybe you look up. Adding a back bend into the lunge and opening the front of left hip. Inhale to reach straight up. And then let's side bend. Point both hands over to the right side. You might bring right hand down to the ground or place a block under your hand. Rotate your ribs up and to the left and maybe look up through your armpit. Reach both hands high again. And then hands down inside of the right foot. Let's take lizard pose. Step your right foot a little bit wider. There's a lot of options here. You can stay exactly as you are if this is enough. You can also peel the right knee out to the right side. Or bend the back knee and reach right hand back to catch the ankle. This is one of the places where a strap might be useful. You can hook it around the ankle. But whatever version of this that you choose, make sure you're staying open across the front body. Take one more breath in. And then hands back inside of the right foot. One more variation of lizard that I really like. Crawl both hands over to the left. You can stay on long arms or come down to forearms. And then reach your right arm far away from your body. One more inhale. And come on back to lizard pose. Lift your hips. Step your right leg back to tabletop. And one more time up to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg behind you. Bend your knee, stack your left hip over your right. You can draw some circles in your hip. You could simply let it stay open, or if you practice flip dog, you're welcome to come over the top to get the full extension of front body. Take a few breaths wherever you are. If you're in flip dog, come back to down dog, straighten your leg behind you, and step left foot through. We'll find that low lunge on the front. And step up onto left thigh. We're getting a nice stretch across the front of the right hip. And reach both hands up. Hug navel in and lift the frontal hip points up. Maybe you look up. Hug inner thighs towards each other. Inhale, reach high. And then side bend to the left. Rotate your ribs to the right, maybe look up through your armpit. Keep lifting up out of your hips. Inhale back to center. And lizard pose. Both hands inside of the left foot. Any variation, you can stay right here. If you are staying, careful not to collapse down. Instead, look forward, lift your sternum. You might open the left knee out to the left side. You might bend the back knee and reach back to connect or not with the back foot. Breathe into the front of the right thigh. One more inhale. Come back to hands inside of left foot. In that last variation, crawl both hands over to the right. You can stay tall or come onto forearms. And reach left arm far away from you. Side body opening. One more breath. And come on back to center. Press your hips back. And step back to tabletop or down dog, your choice. A couple of cat-cows might feel nice here, or sway your hips side to side to release. And then let's come back down onto the belly once more. This time, left forearm goes onto the mat underneath of your chest at a diagonal. And then bend the right knee behind you so that toes point towards your head. And we're going to sweep the right arm back. Two options. You can keep right fingertips on the mat as you twist and look towards your toe. Or you can reach the hand back to catch the foot or place a strap around. Hug navel in, lift chest. You might even engage glutes a little bit. Breathe in. A nice slow, controlled release. And we'll switch sides. Right forearm across the mat under chest. Left fingertips beside the ribs. Rotate your ribs to the left. Bend your left knee, point towards your head. You can stay. Or take hold of your foot. And draw heel towards glute. Only to whatever degree is safe for your knee. Some might be able to turn the fingertips forward. Same direction as the toes. Hug navel in, squeeze glutes a little bit. Press right shoelaces down. Breath in. And a nice controlled release. Bring your forehead down to the mat, arms relax. Bend your knees and windshield wiper your heels side to side. Release your low back once again. Legs long behind you. Option either Sphinx again with forearms down, Or take the knees a little bit wider, palms down next to your ribs, and lift your chest up. Two options, toes can stay down, or you can bend the knees, point toes towards head. Open your heart and look up. Engage through glutes and low belly. Draw your shoulder blades down towards your hips. Wrap your triceps back. Breathe in. Feet down, hips back. And let's take a few camel poses. We'll stand on the shins and place either palms or fists in the low back. I'm going to scoot back here. So for this pose, we lengthen the tailbone down, hug navel in, lots of that in back bending. And then lift the sternum up. It might be a very gentle back bend, or you might go a little bit deeper. Squeeze inner thighs in towards each other. Chin can stay tucked, or you can open your throat. One more breath. Look forward, sink heels down for a couple of breaths. And second camel's pose, rise up onto shins, palms or fists to low back. Squeeze thighs towards each other, tailbone down. And then lift your chest. If you practice the variation where you take hands to heels, feel free to take that, but don't force it. One more breath. Look forward, tuck your chin, and sink hips to heels. Take a few breaths. Let's come into a seated pose. You can sit on a block or your blanket if you'd like. We're coming into a 90-90 stretch. So both knees at about 90 degrees. Left shin is in front of you, and right shin is at your side. It's very likely that the right hip is going to lift up off the mat. You can let that happen. Lengthen up through your spine. Reach hands high. And then a gentle twist to the left. Heart stays lifted. You can engage, squeeze thigh muscles onto thigh bones. You can hug navel in and rotate it to the wall behind you. Maybe look over your back shoulder. And then if you'd like, lift a little bit more. Add a little cow pose into your seat. Squeeze the right thigh. Breath in. And come on back to center. Hands behind you. We'll switch the legs. Legs over to the left. 90-90 seat. Right shin crosses in front of me. Left my side. Sit up in a nice tall spine. Inhale, hands reach high. And exhale, twist over to the right. Hug navel in. Rotate your heart towards the wall behind you. Maybe look over back shoulder. Engage gently through thighs. An option to lift the heart, cow pose. Breath in. And release. Alright, sweep both legs off to the side. And let's come into a seat with both hands behind us. Fingers face the same direction as toes, and knees point up for a reverse tabletop. Press down through hands and feet, and lift the hips up. Wrap triceps back. Press hip creases high. Again, you can keep your chin tucked, or you can open the throat. Squeeze inner thighs together. Breathe in and release down. Second one, same thing, or take your legs out long for a reverse plank. Press down through hands and feet and rise up. Focus on lifting the inner hip creases, the front hip creases. Breathe in and release down. Let's go for One more, either of those. Breath in and rise up. Wrap your triceps back, lift your ribs, lift your hip creases. Soften your jaw. Breath in and release down. Have a block or pillow with you as you come all the way back down onto your back. Alright, supported bridge pose. Lift your hips up and slide your prop underneath of your hips. And we want the prop under the sacrum, under the glutes, not under the low back. So if you feel the prop in your spine, it's a little bit too high. Arms can rest at your sides, on your body, or overhead, which again will accentuate the stretch a bit. You can let this be very passive. Soften completely into the pose. Or you can let it be a bit more active. Squeeze navel in. Engage thighs. Breathe into upper chest. Breathe into side body. Spend a few breaths here. Now with your hips still on your prop, lengthen both legs out long so that hips come to touch the ground way out in front of you. Imagine sending your breath into the whole length of your front body. Notice where you're holding tension. Your eyebrows, your armpits, knees. What can you let go of? If there's some particular spot that's asking for a little bit more opening, send your breath directly into it as an invitation for softening rather than trying to force. If this is perfect, you're welcome to stay here longer. Otherwise, bend your knees up towards the ceiling, arms by your sides. Very slowly pour weight through your feet so that you can lift your hips off the block and set it off to the side. Chance for one final active heart opener. That can simply be bridge pose as we did before. Or if you practice real, you can take hands next to your shoulders with fingers facing your toes. Press down through hands and feet. Lift your hips and come on up. Whichever back bend you've chosen, we'll spend a few breaths. Navel in, thighs engaged. Maybe floating the heels. We'll stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're in wheel, tuck your chin and come on down. Windshield wiper your knees side to side. And land in butterfly legs, Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide. Or if that's uncomfortable, you can try the opposite, knees together and feet wide. Feel your back body resting on the earth, feet heavy. Bring legs back to neutral. Take your hips over to the left side and roll both knees over to the right for a simple twist. Left arm opens out long to the left side. Maybe you glance in that direction. Consciously soften the front of your chest, inside of left arm and fingertips. Just notice your breath. And come on back to center, hips to center. And then hips over to the right, knees roll down to the left. Right arm to right side, option to glance in that direction. Consciously soften the front of your chest, the inside of right arm, and all the way out through right fingertips. Notice your breath. And come on back to center. If you're craving any final movements, windshield wiper, hug your knees, or anything else, feel free to add it in. And let's spend just 1 minute in a final rest, either constructive rest, knees pointing up, Shavasana, arms and legs long, or a comfortable seat. Soften or close your eyes. Soften the space around and behind your eyes. And let that release travel from the top of your body to the bottom. Inviting your whole self into a final rest. We stay for just a moment. You're welcome to stay longer if you'd like. If you're ready to move, wiggle fingers and toes. Turn your head side to side, or reach your arms past your ears. Bring both knees into your chest and roll over to either side. And come on up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining this practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out. Namaste.